My dear friends, eins, zwei, drei.
My dears, it has been a while, I know. The reason is it's very hard to find junk stores, thrift stores, whatever you want to call them. Very hard to find them these days, and if you do find them, they're usually full of crap, which is why in this one, this is a compilation of about 4 or 5 different stores, and there's going to be quite a few images because there's no point me filming rows and rows of pots and pans and wine glasses. I'm sure you don't want to see that. So I've photographed basically and filmed the most interesting items. Let's go and have a look. Check out this mid-century recliner. Isn't that so cool? It is very comfortable, I can assure you. I tried it out, so did Oddie. And you can sort of flip open the armrest there for easy exit without even, having to fold up the feet recliner. Great stool. This is an old, sorry-looking children's riding horse with wheels. It's not a rocking horse, with real cow skin. Quite gruesome. It's starting to peel away and be a bit moth-eaten. Would you buy that for your kid? What do they want? 95 francs. It's just about $95. And here we have an old ship's lamp. Somebody has converted it to 220 volt and just put a normal bulb in it. Quite a nice piece. It's a real eye catcher, actually. I was considering buying it, but yeah. If I had a bar or a restaurant, one day I might open up a little coffee bar, and then I could buy all this sort of crap and stick it on the walls. But I left that one, actually. Spotted this in a cabinet. It looks like an original, doesn't it? But I found out they're actually reproductions made in the 90s. But they are such high quality reproductions that they sell for several hundred, depending on what it is. This one they want about $220 for it, and that's what they go for. As I say, they're great quality. An old guy who used to own an antique toy shop, he told me, because I've got one. Mine is a car, which I'll show you in a minute. But they're great quality, and they're large too. They're not small models. They're really quite large. And these are based on old German manufacturers. There was one in particular called Lehmann. They used to make these antique toys, and they would move as well. And so they're based on these old German toys, and they're fantastic. I love them. I love the coloring on them as well. So this is my one here. You can see it's got the same tires as the motorcycle and sidecar, the Ballon Core, and so it's really quite large. And they have the headlights are really those old-fashioned bulbs. And what they did, that's right, I'm forgetting myself here. The old guy told me what they did. They found all of the blueprints and the casts for the original models which were made back in the 1920s. And then they reproduced it from the original prints, from the blueprints and from the casts. And that's how we have it. And it has an old storage compartment for an old battery. So you'd have to get a reproduction old battery made. But they are perfect reproductions of the models that were built in the 1920s. This thing here is worth about $400 or $500. So here we have another horse, a sort of a tricycle horse. This one is better. I like this one better than the horrible one with the gruesome hide on it. Really quite old, this. $120. I mean, it's about the same price. Well, $30 more. I'd rather have that. This is a children's sewing machine. Isn't that cute? And here we have another one of these. This could be original. This is also a toy horse and cart. And that could be reproduction. I think that one's a repro. There's so many repros. It's getting difficult nowadays because antique toys were huge a couple of years back, and they've declined here a bit in Europe. Maybe in America they're still doing well. It depends on what it is, but they're not getting the same prices. Nice old clock there. Can you read what it says on there? Is that from Ireland or something? I'm not really sure. Please tell me if you recognize. I can't be bothered to Google it. I'm getting lazy in my old age. Please forgive me. It sounds Irish, doesn't it? Billericay. Top of the morning to you in sunny old Billericay. I'm sure there'll be lots of comments telling me that I've got it wrong and how dare you say that. My apologies in advance. And here we have a beautiful old German model train station, probably with a working clock inside there. It's in a glass cabinet. I can't get to it, but it's very nice. I sold one of these about 7 or 8 years ago. Got about $200 for it. And look at the little tobacco kiosk. Isn't that wonderful? And the people sitting down with the waiter bringing them their wine. Isn't that beautiful? I love that little tobacco kiosk. That is sweet. What else have we got there? What is that thing in the background? That looks like a waste paper basket or a litter basket. I'm not really sure. Was it for newspapers back in the day? Maybe they had rolls of newspapers. And there at the back, we do have a newspaper stand. Can you see that? Zeitungen. Isn't that wonderful? That's lovely as well. That's a real relic. Wow. With the little newspaper still in it. That is a rarity. I love old trains. I don't really like model trains themselves. We just love all the accessories you get with it. The houses and the stuff like that. Oh, look, a top hat for me. Now, what I'm filming here is this, excuse me, it goes on to horizontal soon, but is this display case customer bench, or what would you call it? I'm losing my English. It's fantastic. And here we go, we flip over here. Yeah, some model trains there that I found on top. Tin trains, 56. Not really sure what country they're from, probably German. Look at this, isn't that fantastic? A department store counter, that's the word, counter. Losing my English, and so these would all be, displayed there like that with the round glass. Isn't that lovely? If I had the space, I would buy that. That is a fabulous piece and not scratched. The glass is not scratched, and for the old ones, it's hard to find one where people haven't scratched them with their diamond rings. Nice, very nice. And here we have some Heidi magazines. Odette read all of these when she was a kid. So what's this one at the front? Hilfe für den braunen Freund. So they're bringing a bear home. Granddad, can we keep this bear? We found it in the woods. Oh my God. So they were helping a big brown bear. That's sweet. So here we have an ostrich egg, and this is a real human skull. This is in a junk store, thrift store near the city. This is from the Institute of Anatomy in Zurich. How it ended up here, maybe they closed that department down. This was once a real human being, living and walking and talking just like us. We're all going to end up there one day, but hopefully not in a cabinet. But then again, who cares? What is that beautiful crystal thing? This is 5,500-year-old wood from a thatched dwelling which used to be in Zürich, in the city. Wow. They were working on the opera house and they found it. Here we have some rather sad, preserved, freeze-dried specimens and a turtle there. He doesn't look very happy, does he? And I don't know what they are. A toad, another sad little bird. Yeah. This is an old porcelain shield from a department store from Switzerland. That's obviously been out in the weather for a while. Here we have an old typewriter, Smith Premier. Anyone heard of that brand before? I love the old keys. Apparently they're taking off the keys and making them into rings as people's first name initials. A good idea, I guess. It's a shame for the old typewriter, but if the thing's not working anymore and it's busted up, then yeah, better that than wasting it entirely. But they are solid. They are really heavy, these old typewriters. I bought one, paid $1 for it. This one they won $120. Bit too much for my bargain hunting pockets. This thing here, it's sort of like a wine set. So you got the corkscrew in the middle, then you got a wine cork on the left, and the other one is a wine pourer. It's very sort of 1970s, isn't it? Quite decadent and sort of hunting lodge style. Would you buy it? I think they want about $12 or $17 for that. I can't really see the price from here. Would you buy that? And here we have more Heidi, this time Heidi records. So you can listen. Apparently Odette said you could also get them on cassette. She would listen to them on cassette as well. Isn't it strange how technology has just progressed so quickly to the point when they had, do you remember when they had CDs and they had laser discs? How quickly, and DVDs, how quickly they just went, and they're all sort of obsolete now. But I think vinyls are coming back, and some people saying that DVDs are coming back as well. People are buying them as, collecting them. Yeah, I don't even have a DVD player or a VHS player anymore. All gone. So this is an old, what they call a Schwarzwald, Black Forest clock. You can either have them like that by themselves with the weights hanging down, or you could fit it into a sort of grandfather clock case. We have one at home just like that. I like it sort of bare bones. It's got a rather pretty little painting at the top there. A nice piece, if you like the sort of country style alpine lodge look. And here we have a little weather station. Do you remember these? I know that my grandfather had one when I was a child, and I was fascinated with it. It was larger than this, and it had a man and woman. She had her sort of summer frock on, and he had an umbrella and a raincoat. And of course, if the weather was inclement, he would pop out, and if the weather was nice, she would come out to water the garden. It's quite sweet. Gives me a nice feeling, nice memories. And $6. I think that's a bargain for a bit of nostalgia. This is an old glass slide projector. Isn't that a beauty? They want $299 for that. Quite a rare thing. It's in great nick. Sewing machines, and there's an old advertising for a sewing machine, a knitting machine, a knitting machine. It's for a baby, isn't it? To sort of, what do they call them? I can't remember what they're called. To sort of rock the, rock-a-bye baby, that sort of thing. What do they call them? Bassinet? Quite dangerous, wouldn't it, if a big dog come and tipped it up? Now, this is not an antique, but it's actually a juice machine from Norfolk. It's an American machine. Looks to be like it had been an expensive model. Looks to be in really good condition too. So somebody was opening up a juice bar. Wow, what a great machine. It looks like an expensive brand. It looks very well made. How much do you think that is worth? Somebody let me know in the comments, please. So this is quite strange. I think somebody must have made this themselves. I'm thinking 1940s, 1950s. It's a dried flower arrangement in a sort of glass case. It's really well made, actually, and it's lit. They put a bulb inside. I love the sort of green colour. I'm not sure about the dried flower arrangement, but somebody obviously thought they looked quite pretty, and at night time it would give off a wonderful light. So that's a definite handmade, I would imagine. What do you think of that? Do you love it or do you hate it? Let me know. This is a lighted beer sign for Falcon Beer. It's quite a nice beer. I've had that quite a few times. Brauerei Falcon. That would be mounted on the wall outside of a bar to tell people that that is the beer that they are serving in that establishment. Do you like that? I quite like it, actually. It's got a nice colour to it with the eagle or the hawk or whatever that bird is. Yeah, in a lot of those old small bars, that would be it. If you saw that, you knew that was the only beer they were serving. There wasn't like a big range like they have nowadays. That was it. So there's a certain beer called Halden Gut here. I don't like it. So if I would see that in a country area on an inn or a bar, I just wouldn't go in because I know that's what they've got. And this is a door for a telephone cabin. This would have also been in a bar. Somebody has had that made up for their little Swiss bar. I have a friend here who had a bar. He's retired now, but he's still got the bar, and he has also a telephone door very similar to that. In the old days, when people went into a cabin and were actually quiet, you couldn't hear them. Now they're on their phones loudly talking. They want everyone to hear. It drives me nuts. Don't get me started. And here we have two coffee bean tins. They are also Swiss, from Luzern. Café Sirocco. Really quite nice, but also they're old. I reckon, I would say 1920s, 1930s. Definitely. Never seen that brand before. This is called a gondola. This would carry you up the mountainside to go skiing. And at the top you could jump out and whoosh down the side. This is quite an old one, isn't it? It looks just like a wicker basket with no sides to keep you in. Maybe a bit of rope to stop you falling out. Wow. And this is inside the junk store. $220 for this old banker's lamp. Yeah, it is the price. That's what they get. But they'll have to wait a while. And that's a nice, cute little children's stove. Isn't that sweet? It's a well-made one. I'll probably say, 1950s would be my estimation. And they want $60 for that. Looks to be steel and enamel. It's a proper little oven. And here we have a Milkshake blender. I've had one of these, oh man, about 12 years ago. I sold it for $280 and they want $180 for this, and it's in pretty good nick. They are solid machines, and they look great. They look great. I think they are actually old. I don't think they're repros. Are they old? Can anyone confirm that? Mine was certainly looked old, had a really old plug on it, so I'm not sure whether they are still making them or not. Somebody can let me know in the comments section. Here we have a nice little concertina lamp. Quite nice. I think they want about $120 for that. It's also about the price. This is quite a sweet one. It's not that large. So yeah, they might get that. I quite like it. They were all the rage about 10 years ago. I've got a few myself. Look at this coffee grinder. Wow, that's like an industrial version. You could lose a finger in there or two. Holy dooly. That's really an old one, that. Good thing about coffee grinders, if there's ever no electricity anymore, post-nuclear age, you can still grind your coffee. Boil your water up on a fire, make yourself a nice hot black coffee to get you through that post-nuclear day. Look at this. This is an original lithograph from the Löwenbräu Zürich, which is like a big restaurant pub, very well known. Been around for a long time. They want $1,200 for this, but it isn't original. They probably will get that price. I love it, just not prepared to spend that much, but I do like it. It's been in that frame probably since the 1960s. There you see to the right, that was an advertisement for the Löwenbräu 1941. My friend actually bought the original painting that the artist did for this advertisement, and he also has the advertisement out of a magazine. Isn't that great? The old guy wiping his forehead in the beer garden at the Löwenbräu, waiting for that beer. Beer. So that lithograph, I love it. Oh well, I'd have to have a huge place. I'd have to have a lot more money to justify buying something like that. But it is a nice piece. So what do we have here? Crap in the cabinet. Ah, look at that sullen face. What's wrong with you? What's the matter?
I'll tell you what it is, Oddie. I've lost all hope. I've lost all meaning in my life. I've tried on every single fashion that there's ever been, and now they're bringing it back. We went back to the 70s, the worst decade for fashion in the whole of humankind. They've went back to it again. I'm really feeling depressed, and I've lost me Farrah Fawcett Major's wig. Whatever shall I do?
Don't worry, my dear. I spotted a Yorkshire Terrier over yonder. I'll grab it and plonk it on top of your shiny nugget. You won't know the difference. So what have we got here? British Airways. British United Airways. Okay. There's a nice sort of carrier steam trunk. $55. Not bad. There's another smaller one. Quite well made, very robust. What I do like is the sticker, Hotel Bristol, Wien, which is Vienna. And there we have it. There's the Hotel Bristol, which is still going today. So somebody was quite proud back in the day to get that sticker, to show people that they had stayed at the Hotel Bristol. Sounds very English, doesn't it? This is a little sort of, slide negative viewer, projector. Kinga Baby. Anyone ever heard of that? $55. Is that Bakelite or plastic? Probably a version of plastic after Bakelite. Quite cute though in those 1950s colours. This is my buy. This is what I got. I really like this. I've got a few of these old glasses from the 1950s. It's an old guy. He's drinking his beer. And I think it sort of translates, it's sort of in dialect written, these are German glasses, that it would be a shame to waste a drop. And can you see his dog below? He is waiting patiently with tongue out to catch that drop. Isn't that sweet? With a little sort of, the gilding at the top just sets it off quite nicely. It's a lovely piece, but he's got his cigar there, his waist jacket on and watch. I like that. You can drink a beer out of that and enjoy it just a little more. These are great. These would have been in a general store or a delicatessen. They would have been like dried things like coffee beans. Can you see that? F. Ernst, Zürich. Remember that. So they would have dispensed, lentils or coffee. Really nice. Over 100 years old. Here's mine. I've got from the same manufacturer. One is for olive oil and the other one is for methylated spirits. Excuse me, my methylated spirits. They are really old. So this company was responsible for producing all these things for the old delicatessens and general stores. I've had them for years too. I don't even know where they are now, but I've got them. Anyway, my friends, that's it for this session. But stay tuned. I've got some more interesting video to show you. Swiss graveyard, another Swiss graveyard, and interesting places, I can assure you. Stay tuned. See you later, my friends. Bye-bye.
Operator, could you do me an immense favor and put me through to Disco 3000?